Christmas revealed the truth about my wife. Don't scroll. Stay with me for a moment. I know Christmas usually arrives with noise, lights, music, obligations, traditions everyone pretends to enjoy, but what I'm talking about has nothing to do with celebration. This is about what happens when the year finally slows down enough for truth to stop hiding. Listen carefully. Christmas didn't surprise me with something new. It exposed something that had been quietly consistent all along, something I didn't fully see because life was moving too fast to notice it clearly. Stay right here. I didn't wake up that morning expecting clarity. There was no dramatic realization, no emotional speech, no moment where everything suddenly made sense. It was subtler than that. It was in the way the day unfolded without pressure. In the way silence showed up without feeling awkward. In the way she moved through the hours without trying to control them. And I realized something important: truth doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives calmly, when nothing is being forced. Don't skip this. Christmas has a way of revealing people because it strips away momentum. Work pauses. Distractions slow down. And what's left is presence, or the lack of it. I watched how she handled that stillness. She didn't rush to fill it. She didn't need constant stimulation. She didn't perform warmth or pretend joy. She simply was. And that steadiness told me more than years of conversation ever could. Listen to me. I've spent most of my life analyzing systems, figuring out what holds under pressure and what collapses when conditions change. Holidays are pressure disguised as comfort. Old memories surface. Expectations collide. People revert to patterns they thought they outgrew. And I paid attention to how she responded. Calm. Grounded. Honest. Not perfect, but consistent. And consistency is something you can't fake for long. Stay with me. I realize the woman I'm going to call my wife isn't the one who makes moments feel bigger. She's the one who makes them feel safer. She doesn't amplify chaos. She lowers it. She doesn't demand attention. She brings clarity. And once you feel that kind of presence, everything else starts to feel loud and unnecessary. Don't scroll now. I noticed how she didn't change depending on who was around her. She wasn't warmer for approval or quieter to avoid judgment. She was the same in private as she was in company. That kind of integrity isn't common. It means who she is doesn't depend on being witnessed. And that matters when you're thinking about building a life with someone. Listen carefully. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about alignment. About the relief of not having to manage someone's emotions or decode their moods. About not feeling like you need to be alert all the time. Christmas revealed that being near her didn't add weight to my life, it removed some of it. Stay right here. I've seen people who love the idea of togetherness but struggle with the responsibility of it. They enjoy closeness until it asks for patience. They like warmth until it requires consistency. Christmas showed me that she doesn't retreat when things get emotionally dense. She stays present without overwhelming the space. Don't skip this. The truth about my wife isn't that she's endlessly cheerful or effortlessly romantic. It's that she's reliable in a way that can't be performed. She creates peace by facing reality calmly, not by avoiding it. And once you experience that, you realize how rare it is. Listen to me. I noticed how she didn't need the day to be special to be present. She didn't force meaning or chase nostalgia. She allowed the moment to be what it was. That taught me more about partnership than any dramatic gesture ever could. Because real partnership isn't about amplifying moments, it's about sustaining them. Stay with me. Christmas didn't change our relationship. It clarified it. It showed me that the woman who remains steady when things are quiet is the woman who will remain steady when things are hard. And that realization doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with certainty. Don't scroll now. If you've ever wondered how people know how they move from uncertainty to choice, it's rarely because of one big moment. It's because of many small moments that all point in the same direction. Christmas simply gave me the stillness to see them clearly. Stay right here. And if this resonated with you, if this kind of quiet, grounded truth feels familiar, take a moment to like this video. If you want more honest reflections like this, subscribe. And if something here felt personal, leave a comment, even a simple one. Sometimes recognition is enough. Stay with me. There's more to come. Stay with me. Don't scroll yet. If you're still here, it means the quiet of what I said didn't push you away, it pulled you closer. And that matters, because what comes next isn't louder, it's deeper. Christmas didn't just reveal something about her. It revealed something about me, about what I no longer want to ignore now that I've seen it clearly. Listen carefully. After that day passed, nothing dramatic happened. There was no announcement, no shift in how the world looked on the outside. But inside, something settled. The kind of settling that happens when a question finally stops asking itself. I realized that for the first time in a long while, I wasn't bracing. I wasn't anticipating conflict, or disappointment, or the moment I'd have to explain myself again. I was simply present. And presence is a rare thing when you're used to managing everything. Don't skip this. I've lived most of my life in motion. Forward, upward, outward. Solving, building, deciding. Movement becomes a shield. As long as you're moving, you don't have to sit with what you feel. But Christmas slowed everything down just enough to make movement unnecessary. And in that pause, I noticed how different it felt to be with someone who didn't require me to stay sharp all the time. Stay right here. I noticed how conversations didn't feel like negotiations. There was no subtle tug-of-war, no unspoken expectation that I needed to be something specific in order to keep the peace. I didn't feel watched. I didn't feel evaluated. I felt accepted in a way that didn't ask for effort. And that's when it hit me, this is what safety feels like. Not comfort that distracts you, but safety that allows you to breathe. Listen to me. Safety doesn't come from control. It comes from trust. And trust isn't built on grand promises. It's built on consistency in small moments. On showing up the same way when no one is impressed. On how someone handles boredom, inconvenience, or silence. Christmas put all of that on display without trying to. Don't scroll now. I paid attention to how she responded when nothing needed to be done. No agenda. No schedule to impress. No outcome to chase. Just time. And instead of filling it with noise, she respected it. She didn't rush the day. She didn't try to make it meaningful. She let it be what it was. That told me she doesn't need external validation to feel grounded. Stay with me. I realized how rare it is to be around someone who doesn't need to be entertained or admired to feel secure. Someone who isn't uncomfortable with stillness. Someone who doesn't interpret quiet as rejection. That kind of emotional stability isn't loud, but it's powerful. It creates space instead of tension. Listen carefully. I've been around people who mistake attention for intimacy. They need constant interaction to feel close. They fill silence because silence makes them anxious. And that anxiety slowly becomes your responsibility. Christmas showed me what it feels like when that responsibility disappears. Don't skip this. I noticed how disagreements didn't escalate. How differences didn't turn into distance. How nothing felt like it was one wrong word away from falling apart. That's not luck. That's emotional maturity. That's someone who understands that connection isn't fragile if you treat it with respect. Stay right here. I thought about all the relationships I've seen break down, not because of betrayal, but because of exhaustion. People get tired of walking on eggshells. Tired of guessing. Tired of repairing the same misunderstandings over and over. And I realized I wasn't tired here. I wasn't drained. I wasn't on alert. I was calm. Listen to me. Calm doesn't mean passion is missing. It means fear is absent. And fear has a way of disguising itself as excitement in the beginning. Christmas stripped that disguise away. It showed me what remains when the adrenaline fades. Don't scroll now. I also noticed how she treated people who had nothing to offer her. No advantage. No benefit. Just presence. She was the same. Respectful. Kind. Unchanged. That consistency told me her character isn't situational. And that's something I've learned to value above everything else. Stay with me. I realize that the truth about my wife isn't something I need to explain or defend. It's something I recognize. It's the feeling of not needing to translate my inner world into something more acceptable. Of not needing to hide complexity to keep things smooth. Listen carefully. There's a freedom that comes with being with someone who doesn't need you to perform. Someone who isn't threatened by your silence or overwhelmed by your honesty. Someone who doesn't turn your need for space into a story about abandonment. Don't skip this. I've learned that many people want closeness but panic when it arrives without drama. They don't know what to do with peace. Christmas showed me that she does. She knows how to sit in it. How to protect it. How to let it deepen instead of sabotaging it. Stay right here. After that day, I started noticing how often I used to compromise my own sense of ease just to keep relationships functioning. How I normalized tension. How I accepted complexity as the price of connection. And I realized something important. Connection doesn't have to cost you your nervous system. Listen to me. I'm not saying everything is effortless. I'm saying effort doesn't have to feel like survival. Christmas revealed that difference to me in the quietest way possible. Don't scroll now. I thought about the future, not in a romantic way, but in a practical one. Shared mornings. Ordinary days. Difficult conversations. And for the first time, those thoughts didn't feel heavy. They felt manageable. Even comforting. That's not fantasy. That's alignment. Stay with me. The truth Christmas revealed wasn't about romance. It was about readiness. About recognizing when something doesn't add chaos to your life, it reduces it. And once you experience that, you can't pretend you didn't. Listen carefully. This isn't about choosing someone because they make life exciting. It's about choosing someone because they make life sustainable. And sustainability doesn't get enough credit in a world addicted to intensity. Don't skip this final reflection. If you're still here, you understand that real love doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself slowly, when things are quiet enough to listen. And if this spoke to you, if you recognize this kind of truth, let me know in the comments. Even a few words. Like this video if it resonated. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this, honest, calm, and real. Stay with me. There's still more truth ahead. Stay with me. Don't scroll yet. This part matters because this is where realization turns into responsibility. Christmas didn't just show me who she is, it showed me what I'm willing, and no longer willing, to live with. Once you see the difference between noise and peace, you can't pretend they're the same. You can try, but your body won't cooperate. Your mind won't settle. And that's exactly what happened to me in the days after everything went quiet again. Listen carefully. When life picked back up, emails, decisions, movement, I noticed how differently I carried myself. Not lighter in a dramatic way, but steadier. Less reactive. Less sharp around the edges. It was subtle, but it was there. And I realized that being around someone who doesn't constantly pull at your nervous system rewires you. You stop anticipating conflict that isn't coming. You stop preparing defenses that aren't needed. You stop living one step ahead of yourself. Don't skip this. I started noticing how often in the past I'd accepted tension as normal. How I'd told myself that complexity was depth, that emotional unpredictability meant passion, that anxiety was just part of connection. Christmas showed me that was never true. That was just conditioning. When something healthier shows up, your body recognizes it before your mind can explain it. Stay right here. I paid attention to how I felt after being apart again. Not longing in an unstable way. Not withdrawal. Just a quiet certainty. No urgency to chase. No fear of distance. No need to check where I stood. That's when it hit me, secure connection doesn't demand reassurance. It creates it naturally. Listen to me. I've been in environments where everything depended on anticipation. On seeing problems before they arrived. On never relaxing your focus. That kind of vigilance becomes second nature. But relationships aren't supposed to feel like that. You shouldn't have to stay alert to keep something intact. Christmas revealed that love doesn't have to be managed, it can be trusted. Don't scroll now. I realized how rare it is to be with someone who doesn't project their fears onto the space between you. Someone who doesn't read meaning into silence. Someone who doesn't turn neutral moments into emotional tests. That absence of projection is what allowed the truth to surface so clearly. Stay with me. I also noticed something else. how she didn't rush closeness or distance. She didn't pull me in or push me away. She let the connection breathe. That told me she wasn't trying to control the outcome. She was present with what was actually happening. And presence without agenda is one of the strongest signals of emotional security there is. Listen carefully. I've seen people who try to secure love by tightening their grip, by defining things too quickly, by forcing certainty to soothe their own anxiety. Christmas showed me the opposite approach, the kind that trusts consistency to speak for itself. That kind of patience isn't passive. It's confident. Don't skip this. I thought about the future again, but this time not in terms of milestones or roles. I thought about tone. About how days would feel. About whether conversations would drain or restore. About whether silence would feel safe or heavy. And for the first time, the answers didn't feel complicated. Stay right here. I noticed how she didn't keep emotional receipts. She didn't store moments to use later. She addressed things when they mattered and let them go when they were resolved. That told me she values resolution over control. And resolution is what allows trust to grow instead of stagnating under unspoken tension. Listen to me. Trust isn't built by avoiding conflict. It's built by handling it cleanly. Christmas showed me that conflict doesn't have to be loud to be real. It can be calm, direct, respectful. That's the kind of conflict that strengthens connection instead of eroding it. Don't scroll now. I realized how much of my energy used to go into translating myself, softening words, explaining intentions, anticipating misunderstandings. And I realized I wasn't doing that here. I was speaking plainly. Being heard plainly. That's not coincidence. That's compatibility. Stay with me. I also saw how she didn't need me to be anything other than what I was in that moment. Not impressive. Not decisive. Not leading. Just present. That acceptance wasn't conditional. It didn't fluctuate based on mood or outcome. And conditional acceptance is something you feel immediately when it's missing. Listen carefully. I'm not talking about comfort that makes you complacent. I'm talking about stability that allows growth. When you're not busy defending yourself, you have more capacity to expand. Christmas revealed that kind of space to me. Don't skip this. I thought about how often people confuse independence with emotional distance. How they pride themselves on needing no one, when what they've really done is close off. What I saw wasn't neediness or detachment, it was interdependence. The ability to stand alone and still choose closeness. Stay right here. I realized that the truth about my wife isn't that she completes me. It's that she doesn't compete with my sense of self. She adds to it without threatening it. That's not something you negotiate into existence. That's something you recognize. Listen to me. Recognition feels different than attraction. Attraction pulls. Recognition settles. Attraction excites. Recognition grounds. And once you experience recognition, attraction alone starts to feel hollow. Don't scroll now. I noticed how nothing felt rushed after Christmas. No pressure to define. No urgency to lock things down. Just a shared understanding that whatever was building didn't need to be forced to be real. That's confidence, not hesitation. Stay with me. I've learned that the strongest connections aren't the ones you announce. They're the ones that quietly hold when life resumes its pace. Christmas showed me that what we have doesn't disappear when the lights come down. Listen carefully. If you're still here, you understand that love isn't proven in peak moments. It's proven in transitions. In how something survives when attention moves elsewhere. And that's exactly what I was watching. Don't skip this final thought. Once you experience connection without tension, clarity without pressure, and presence without performance, you stop questioning what you deserve. You stop bargaining with yourself. You stop settling. Stay with me. There's one last thing to say. Stay with me. Don't scroll yet. This is where everything settles, not into an answer you announce, but into a truth you carry forward quietly. Endings like this aren't about closing a door, they're about recognizing which door you've already walked through without realizing it. Christmas didn't give me a speech to deliver or a moment to post. It gave me a standard I can't unlearn. And once a standard changes, you don't go back to negotiating with what used to pass as good enough. Listen carefully. What finally became clear is that love isn't something you feel louder over time, it's something you feel calmer inside. The chaos fades first. The need to interpret everything fades next. The last thing to fade is fear, the fear that you'll be misunderstood, replaced, or quietly left. When that fear goes quiet, you know you're standing on something solid. Not exciting in the way movies sell it, but dependable in the way life requires. Don't skip this. I realized that choosing a partner isn't about choosing a future version of someone. It's about choosing who they already are when nothing is being curated. When the lights dim. When plans fall apart. When the room is ordinary. Christmas showed me who she is in those moments, and that's where truth lives. Not in grand gestures, but in steady behavior that doesn't change with the weather. Stay right here. I also saw my own patterns clearly. How often I'd accepted complexity as depth. How often I'd explained away tension because it came wrapped in chemistry. How often I'd told myself that uncertainty was just the price of connection. That story doesn't hold anymore. Because once you experience steadiness, uncertainty stops feeling romantic. It starts feeling unnecessary. Listen to me. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy, between independence and distance, between passion and volatility. Christmas didn't lecture me about those differences, it demonstrated them. It showed me how quiet confidence looks. How patience sounds. How respect feels when it's consistent instead of conditional. Don't scroll now. I realized something else too, something that doesn't get talked about enough. Being chosen well doesn't make you smaller. It doesn't trap you. It expands you. When you're not busy managing someone else's emotions, you have room to be more yourself. When you're not bracing for disappointment, you take healthier risks. When you're not guessing where you stand taller. Stay with me. The truth is, a lot of people say they want love, but what they really want is relief, from loneliness, from boredom, from themselves. That kind of wanting creates pressure. It turns connection into a transaction. What I saw was different. I saw companionship without urgency. Care without conditions. Presence without performance. And once you see that, you stop mistaking intensity for intimacy. Listen carefully. I'm not claiming perfection in what lies ahead. Life will still be demanding. Days will still be heavy. Conversations will still be necessary. But the difference is how those things are handled. With calm instead of control. With honesty instead of avoidance. With repair instead of retreat. That's not optimism. That's realism grounded in experience. Don't skip this. I learned that love doesn't need to be tested to be proven. Tests usually come from fear. Trust comes from patterns. Christmas showed me patterns I could rely on, how she listens when it would be easier to react, how she stays when it would be easier to detach, how she speaks when silence could be used as leverage. Those choices add up. Quietly. Reliably. Stay right here. I also understood that clarity doesn't require certainty about everything. It requires certainty about what you won't compromise anymore. I won't compromise emotional safety. I won't compromise consistency. I won't compromise the ability to be human without being punished for it. Once those lines are drawn, choosing becomes simpler. Listen to me. Choosing doesn't mean rushing. It means moving without fear. It means allowing things to unfold without sabotaging them. It means trusting what's already been shown instead of demanding more proof. Christmas didn't speed anything up. It removed doubt. Don't scroll now. If you're listening to this and thinking about your own life, your own relationships, your own patterns, that's not an accident. Quiet truths tend to echo. They don't shout. They resonate. And if something here feels familiar, it's because you already know what steadiness feels like. You've just been told to ignore it for too long. Stay with me. There's a peace that comes when you stop chasing and start choosing. When you stop proving and start building. When you stop managing impressions and start honoring reality. That peace doesn't make life smaller. It makes it livable. Listen carefully. This is where the story ends, not with certainty proclaimed, but with alignment accepted. With a sense that whatever comes next doesn't need to be forced. With an understanding that love worth keeping doesn't need constant reassurance. It needs care, time, and the willingness to stay present when nothing exciting is happening. Don't skip this final reflection. If you've ever wondered how people know when something is right, it's not because they feel more. It's because they worry less. They stop scanning for exits. They stop negotiating with themselves. They stop asking the same questions over and over. Christmas did that for me. Stay right here for one more moment. If this series meant something to you, if it slowed you down, or helped you name what you've been feeling quietly, take a second to like this video. It helps these conversations reach people who need them without turning them into noise. If you want more reflections like this, calm, honest, and grounded, subscribe. And if something here felt personal, leave a comment. Even a simple one. Recognition matters. You can share this too, quietly, with someone who values steadiness over spectacle. Not to convince them, just to let them feel understood. That's it. No grand ending. Just clarity. And the understanding that when truth shows up quietly and stays, you listen.